All right, meanwhile, was it a case of road rage or self-defense? That is the question that's now being raised this morning over this disturbing video. This shows a group of angry bikers beating up the driver of the SUV after he allegedly struck one of them with his car and ran over another.
So since then, 2 of the bikers have been arrested for their role. But during an interview with Fox Boston, the wife of the injured rider says the driver of the SUV must be charged, that he is responsible.
How about the fact that my husband can't ever walk again, and he can't walk my daughter down the aisle? That he can't even attend one of my son's football games again.
Dan Shor is a former prosecutor. Eric Schwartzreich is a criminal defense attorney, and both are with us right now. And gentlemen, good afternoon to you. Dan, is it self-defense or is it road rage?
It's a question of fact, and you have to look at the totality of the circumstances. Here you have the driver of the SUV in the car with a wife and a toddler, and reportedly the motorcyclists are surrounding the vehicle, they're hitting the vehicle, and they're slashing the tires. So in that situation, the question is there a reasonable belief that he is going to be harmed or his family is going to be harmed? If so, he can then flee, and then he can use his vehicle to drive away through these motorcyclists if there is this reasonable belief of imminent physical harm.
Now, Eric, let me show you the piece of this video that I think is most critical. Let's pull up this video, because this is the moment when the motorcyclists have swarmed the driver. He is at a standstill. I think we're going to be able to show it to you in a second. And basically what happens, okay, here's the moment. He is surrounded, okay? And he hits the gas when they swarm him. Oh, this isn't it. This is the moment where they actually are attacking him. Obviously, that they're culpable. This is the moment right here. They've surrounded him, and he hits the gas, and he takes off, plowing over some of them. Now, how can you, as a defense attorney, ever convince a judge or a jury if that was self-defense or if he was just really, really angry?
Well, it's always very difficult to get into someone's mind, but in this case, a picture's worth 1,000 words, but a videotape, well, that's worth 1,000,000. If you look at this videotape, what you see before is one of the motorcyclists applies his brake. I mean, he's braking, to use a term, braking bad, and we all know what happens when you brake bad. He brakes, the SUV hits that car, and then all of a sudden he's swarmed. The other motorcyclists are trying to stop the car, and in that car is his wife and his child. He's scared. He's in fear, and it's on videotape. You can't see his face, but what you can see is 20 to 30 motorcyclists swarming on the car. And what this driver did of the SUV was within his rights, because if he believed he was in fear, and that fear is imminent, and the video shows imminent fear, later the tires are slashed, although that is not, interestingly, caught on the motorcyclist helmet cam. If that is shown on that videotape and you see everything that is there and everything that's not there, what we have is a case of self-defense where it was imminent, where 30 people were going to harm perhaps this driver and his daughter and his family, and he was well within his rights.
Dan, I think you and Eric are arguing the same thing. That's what I hear. And I hear no criminal charges against the driver. Is that right?
Well, as Commissioner Ray Kelly said, you have to look at the totality of the circumstances, and it's still under investigation. From the video, we can see the SUV being surrounded by the motorcyclists, but we don't know everything that happened when they surrounded him. Reportedly, they were hitting the vehicle, they were slashing the tires, and the question is, did that driver reasonably believe that he or his family was going to be harmed? And the NYPD has to interview everyone they can, look at the video, and make a decision about whether there is a reasonable belief of physical injury that justified him driving away.
I mean, speaking of physical injury, we do know that the cyclist who was run over had, I think, both his legs broken as well as his spine broken. Eric, will that change how responsible or culpable the driver of the SUV is?
Look, those injuries are awful, and it's sad, and, you know, those injuries he'll have to live with the rest of his life. But maybe for a civil case where the standard is preponderance of the evidence, where they're suing. But in a criminal case, reasonable doubt, while those injuries matter, they don't matter if it's justifiable use of deadly force or non-deadly force if he believed, as Dan said, that there was imminent fear. So while he might be able to recover for those injuries in a civil case, and I imagine and anticipate there will be a civil lawsuit, that's where those injuries will matter. And it's sad what happened to this young motorcyclist, but you know, the videotape, from what we've seen, I mean, it speaks for itself. Okay. I don't know what the motorcyclist's involvement was, but it's unfortunate and sad, and it is what it is.
Yeah. Eric, thank you. Dan, thanks to you as well. And we'll see where this goes. based on what the police commissioner says. We should hear from Ray Kelly later. Thank you, men.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.